Alrighty, hello everyone, welcome to Cinderful Gaming, welcome to another hobby hangout during, or leading up to, I guess at the moment, the Warhammer live stream, this time for the Dominion box set. We're going to be here hobbying, hanging out, and just having a bit of fun while we wait and see what exactly is inside Dominion. So, with that said, hope everyone is doing well. If you're in the chat, let us know where you're watching from, what you're doing. If you're working on some hobby, let us know what you're working on. I'm currently working on some clan rats. So we're going to start applying the second layer of Cadian flesh tone to them all now. And that'll be my thing. Morning, Erdil. It is morning where I am now. It is 1:30 a.m. So certainly is morning here. Ricky, morning, mate. I am certainly feeling that hype. What about yourself, my good friend? Feeling new edition hype. Good dang it. We are 4 clan rats in, and one of them has decided to fall off his base. Nice, yeah. Jay Durthu, hello, mate. Good to see you there. It is a bit cold. Well, I say cold. I know it's not as cold as some places in the world, but it is cold for Australia at the moment. We're about to get into our winter, and I do not like the cold. The cold can go suck it. Yeah, if you're joining us, let us know if you're doing some hobby. Oh, nice, you decided, yet. I mean, worst comes to worst, Jay Durthy, at that point. You've just got, what is it, a Barrack 3 army, don't you? Worst comes to worst for that. Just applying a second layer of Cadian flesh tone. Nice. I have a screaming bell in the production line that is needed to be painted up. At the moment, we're just getting the clan rats, because this is the big bulk. Like, if I can get these clan rats done, the rest of the army comes together pretty easy after these, like, in comparison. Although, seeing the stuff from Kragnos, I am rat ogres. Oh boy. Alexander, Shuck, nice to see you there. Hello to you both. But yeah, yeah, those Kragnos stuff, rat ogres look tasty. Really tasty. Look really solid. So yeah, we've had to put 2 layers of this Cadian flesh tone on, just because it's a layer paint, it's not going on heavy enough, so we're just having to do 2 layers before we put our wash. Bigger or smaller than you thought, Shuck? Yeah, it's like, so it is honestly a tactic I use when painting armies in general. Yeah, it's a tactic I use when painting like armies in general. Is I find the vast bulk of it and get that done first, and then everything is easy sailing once you've done that. Thank you, Jay Dirty. So I did it with my Wanderers army. I painted the 50 Wildwood Rangers up first, and then we moved on from that. And so this one, yeah, we'll get the Clan Rats, we'll get the Storm Vermin done after this, and then probably Rat Ogres and stuff like that. And then it should be pretty smooth sailing once we got those sort of units done. So, what are people hoping for tonight? Popped an image of the new guy in your spoiler channel. Cool. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Like that a lot, Ricky. Judging by what Ricky just posted, I don't think I'm going to be let down. Nice. I did see Trope shared something. So yeah, I'm just excited to see exactly what we're going to get. It's going to be a big night for me. So we've got this to watch, and then I've got the Champions League final to go watch. Go the Blues! But yeah, it's going to be a big night. They look really cool though, Ricky. I'm down for that. Just ordered some glow-in-the-dark crystals from Green Stuff World for my Skaven, for the basing of them. Should be pretty cool. They have these glow in the dark ones that looked really cool, so I picked them up. Like some nice little, yeah, bit of warp stone. I think I'm going to do like a very like grey underground sort of base for them, and then yeah, it'll be nice to see what we get and when the reveal, when everything's coming, because next Saturday is my birthday, of which we'll be doing a hobby hangout then. So, be nice to see what's on pre-order next Saturday. Who knows? Maybe Dominion will be on pre-order for my birthday. Just converted a Luke of Icy Chaos. What did you do? What did you use her as? Oh, Diamond Prince, yep. Nice. What did you convert her up? Did you keep like the model very similar in like the centaur sort of pose, or did you use something else to make her more chaotic? What did you do? If you got some pictures of your work, share them in the if you got some pictures of your conversion, throw them up in the hobby section of the Discord server, which is linked in the description of the video, mate. And if you're joining us, please don't forget to say hi. Let us know where you're watching from, what you're doing, hobby, what you're wanting from tonight. Oh, nice. Awesome. I look forward to seeing it, Shuck. Like, we're thinking like Indominus, so it'll be like a larger version of the start, whatever the starter set's going to be, really. DS28. Nice. Oh, you finally started painting the Biracanum? Awesome, J. Durthu. Nice. Me, I've got to go to work tomorrow. So we'll get through that day, but then I've got 3 days off, so we should Vermin Lord Warbringer from Australia, my fellow countryman. What are you still doing up? They won't take Dwarden fully out of Cities of Sigmar, I think. JR4, hello, mate. That's all, man. Look, be excited to see your work. Discord's great, man. Like, the community on there is really fun to be a part of. I look forward to like seeing some of your stuff. Yeah, I'm excited to see what GW's got for us tonight. I think it's going to be a good night. And Kragnos things did happen, but like we know Grungy's back working with Sigmar, so you mean the one they've just released, JR4, the turn-based strategy that came out the other day. I'm playing it a little bit. It's okay. Upstate New York, painting some skeletons and zombies for Soulblight. Nice. Always good to see some Soulblight. Shocking Fits, what are you talking about? Whereabouts what? Yeah, it's a solid game. It's probably nothing more than you would expect from a game of its type. I didn't think, like, if it wasn't Warhammer, the game would have been maybe $20-30 cheaper. Yeah. Like, the same game, if that was not Warhammer, would have been $20 or $30 cheaper. That's what I thought about it, in all honesty. It's fun, don't get me wrong. It's probably a little bit pricey for what it is. So Age of Sigmar Stormground is a turn-based strategy game released for console and PC. It's good enough. I've got a short little review of it on the channel. But yeah, it's a good enough game. It is probably a little bit pricey for what it is, though. This is coming from someone who collects loads of Warhammer, so. This is still my favourite Skaven banner bearer. He's got like a little rat sitting atop his banner. I love it. Yeah, it is solid. Probably a little bit more expensive than it should be. Like I said before, if it wasn't Warhammer, it'd be $20 or $30 cheaper. $5K subs. I mean, once we start getting to that last 100, I'll probably start thinking about it. Probably just do a big thank you for 5K subs. We might do something exciting, like a nice big battle report on the channel for everyone. Oh, nice. Storm things into Obliterators. I can see that working pretty well. Yeah, so we are super close to 5K subs now, which is awesome. Thanks, Jay Durfee. Yes, if you are watching, liking helps everyone else come find us, come chat with us, and come enjoy the little hobby stream along with us. Dead Earthy, you are a gentleman and a scholar. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what we're going to get tonight. Should be technically not dry brushing, where just base coating. We're putting a second layer on. I'm just not really neat with it when it's the base color for the skin. You can start messy and work our way up to being tidy. Got a very nice bendy bristled brush that just gets into all the gaps nice and well. It's actually a makeup brush of all things. Steal the wife's brushes when she doesn't want them anymore. When she gets new ones, I take her old ones. Marjana, hello mate, good to see you there again. And Chuck and Fit. What army am I painting, Itachi? Itachi, I'm painting my Skaven up. So I was talking about this the other night when we were doing the hobby hangout the other night. So I just finished up painting my Wood Elves. People might have seen the Wood Elves on the channel lately. Wood Elves were one of the old armies I used to collect in Fantasy. And I never really painted models when I was, young kid. Better things to do than painting models. I could just buy more models. Wasn't something I did back then. And so, painting my Wood Elves, I finally had like a proper painted Wood Elf army. And I'm like, you know what? I'd like to have my other main army from Fantasy days painted up. Have a painted army of that as well. So, I started painting some Skaven. And now I'm going to try and get a painted Skaven army done. And we'll probably work our way through everything. So probably after this, I'll probably go... I've got a commission I've got to do first. I've got to paint up a couple of Daughter Decay models, and then I've got to paint up a Gloomspite army, and I've probably got a Lumineth army that I've got to paint up as well. But besides that, I'll probably start working on Eldar for 40k after that. Oh, some Squig Hoppers, nice. Played a game with my Gloomspite the other day. I think we were talking about this on the last stream. Just uploaded all of it. I've just got to edit and put together the bat rep. And so we'll have Gloomspite versus Cities of Sigmar coming up soon. Yeah, squigs are really good in Warcry though, man. Oh, nice. Sane Fallen, nice. Those Blood Knight models look nice. Like, not tempted. I'm tempted to go grab some. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to gaining some. I will probably do the Castellite army. I'm thinking double Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, Vodrai, and then some other, and then a bunch of Blood Knights is probably what I'm going to look at for an army if I did a full Soulblight Gravelords army. I've obviously got my small force I've got for like Vrykos. Although the Direwolf army, like I posted a video talking about Vrykos doing Direwolves and stuff like that, I'm quite tempted to do that army. Yeah, the Cav Spam army really does appeal to me. That and the Direwolf army is cool, I think. Yeah, Avangori with Luca Vi. Like, she is a sweet model. Definitely could like want to get a Luca Vi model. I want to get so much stuff, but there's so much limited time. Although, you know, the bigger and bigger the channel is getting, the more time I'm able to actually put aside and take time to do it. So hopefully over the next 3 days I can get a really good lot of the Skaven done. But yeah, there's so much I want to do. But you know, like I said, as the channel gets bigger and bigger and the channel keeps growing and it does more, I can put more time into that sort of stuff. My advice for Warcry, Marciana, is get the core book. Every year, like normal stuff, like normal games, there's a General's Handbook equivalent, a yearly supplement. So the Tome of Champions, the most recent one, is definitely something you should pick up. And then just your Grand Alliance book is all you need for your army. If you're not playing with one of the original warbands. I really dig the Vengorian Lord Mortal. I really do like them. Yeah, Castello Keep like lore's pretty sweet. Love the idea and their sort of like floating transporting fortress they have is really cool. Bugger. Another one. There's bound to be a couple that just fall off their bases. Oh, this one actually had his leg snapped. I don't know, Alexander. The internet gets mad about everything. Look, end of the day, I'm one of the people of I've come to the decision that like I don't care about being overly. I'm not going to be overly positive and say, but things that bother me, I'm just not going to care about in the hobby, because there's no point getting angry if the hobby's making me angry at stuff. It's not doing what I want to do with it. So I enjoy my hobby. I want it to be a break from everything else. I don't want it to be something that makes me get angry. So I sit, paint models, drink tea, drink Milo, and enjoy myself. Me, I just like talking about Warhammer. It actually originally started when I was about to have my daughter. And I wanted to connect more with the hobby because, like, having a kid, everything sort of started. And it just sort of ended up like that. And over time, I sort of found what I like doing on the channel is helping more people get into the game that I enjoy. So that is a big thing behind, like, the channel. Of why the channel's, like, based in, like, beginner content. Or not beginner, but helping people get into what they want to do. And a having fun vibe of the channel. There's plenty of competitive stuff out there, and that's not what I want to do. Moondrop, I probably will. I probably will subscribe to Warhammer Plus. I will give it a shot. I think you should buy it. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I think I will give it a shot. I'm quite happy to subscribe to something that's going to give me enjoyment. If it doesn't give me enjoyment, I'll probably unsubscribe. But I have every confidence that it'll give me enjoyment. How big like a Cell Star Ballista is? Yeah, they're pretty big. Oh, the actual crew. Yeah. Yeah, Stormcast are big. That's fair, Jay Dursley. That is definitely fair. I mean, Skaven would seem tall to you then, wouldn't they? Lumineth and Sylvaneth. It depends how you want to get into the hobby. So both of those are going to offer two very different things. Like Sylvaneth is fantastic for painting. Not to say Lumineth aren't, but I find Sylvaneth are really forgiving. They are great for new painters, and they allow you to grow with them really well. So Sylvaneth do both parts of the job really well. Lumineth are really good for painting, but probably a little bit more for advanced painting or for someone more confident. Competitive wise on the table, like Lumineth are by far better at the current point in time. But competitive on the table changes. Like what's competitive today won't be competitive tomorrow. That's very important. Matt, nice. It's going to be your first foray. Awesome. I'm glad you're excited to get into this. Nice. The end of the day, if you... Yeah, rule of cool is certainly important, but yeah, Lumineth are not easy to learn to play. They are very unforgiving. So when I say they're good, in the hands of a really good player, Lumineth will be like nigh unstoppable. However, they have a lot to learn. There is a lot of like intertwining mechanics and lots of little tidbits you need to learn with Lumineth that can really make them quite hard to grasp if you're a new player. That said, once again, as Saint Fallen says, like really cool. Yeah. Meta chasing ends up just you're chasing the dragon. You're never going to catch it. And look, we're about to enter a new edition. There's going to be so much upheaval and change. I say, at this point in time, just go for what you think is the coolest. Right, find that model, that one, or actually, a good way I look at it, not just the one model, but look at the battle line options, which are like your core units for the army, because they're the ones you're going to be painting the most of. So if you hate the battle line from one army, it's probably not the army for you because you're going to have multiple of that unit. Or Marchiana, you just own every army. Because if you own every army, you just swap. Yeah, Ricky, 18 minutes. Thank you as ever. My time. I got lots of builds. Like I don't think there's many things from City of Sigmar I couldn't run if I really wanted to. But we will get there. The channel will get more and more armies for it. So 18 minutes to go until we have Dominion revealed to us. What are people looking forward to? What do people want to see? Yeah. The only thing I suggest when doing your forest is you make sure you get the base size correct for the current woods. That is the most important thing, is your base sizing is correct. Exactly. I am the meta. Or Cities of Sigmar. Just by Cities of Sigmar, it can counter anything. That book has so many good options, so many different sub-factions now. Cities of Sigmar can literally do everything. So I do think we'll see a core rulebook. I don't think we'll get too many rules revealed today. I'd be surprised if we get many, if any at all. I think we're going to see a lot of models today. So generic battalions. So there's been no confirmation from GW that generic battalions are replacing old battalions. There's just been confirmation that generic battalions are coming. Now, normal battalions may be moving to narrative play or non-competitive play. Rumor is they go on pre-order next weekend. The box set goes on pre-order next weekend, Matt. Mark Janner, I thought we were friends, buddy. Thought we had something going here, and then you hurt me like this. Yeah. All I can say is, probably don't expect too much rules today. You're going to see a bunch of we're going to see models today, I think, more than anything. I'll be happy if we see rules, but I would not hold your breath for it. Love it, Mark. Nice. Dan, nice to see you there, buddy. It's been a productive night leading up to the stream because I'm going to have all the base coats done. Oh, nice. CDB, nice. Yeah, like, so how I like to play is I like to take the models I like and do the best with the models I like. Like Cities of Sigmar is without a doubt my favorite army in Age of Sigmar, and for 40k, oh yeah, it's got to be Elder, Craftworld Elder. Oh, Stormcast reading. All animals are banned from the games room. My little cat, Skitty, and our Dalmatian killer most certainly is banned. And yes, my cat is called Skitty. She is named after the Pokemon. And then my dog is called Keeler, and she is named after Euphrati Keeler from the Horus Heresy series. Now, we're looking to get in some 40k, and you should see some 40k stuff on the channel coming up. Yeah, Alexander, I'll be getting onto that. Like I said, I've got 3 days off after tomorrow at work, so I will definitely be able to have a good look into stuff and chat with you some more about them. Shocking Fits, if I have to go Chaos in Age of Sigmar at Zinch, they are by far my favourite Chaos faction, or behind Skaven. Skaven is number one, like out of the Chaos, the main Chaos gods like Khorne, Zinch, Slaanesh, and No. Zinch is supreme. And then in 40k, I'm a big Alpha Legion fan. I really do like the Alpha Legion. Yep, already ordered my my father-daughter combo for my Cities of Sigmar. I really look forward to giving them a go. I ordered them, I ordered the Warsong Revenant, and obviously Kragnos book. Mr. Troke is live? Okay, cool. Give me a sec and we'll make sure.
The cameras and making sure everything works. We've also got our moderators in the chat helping make sure that all of you, our viewers, can join in the best way. Speaking of you, if you want to join in the chat and ask questions as we're going along, you can do so if you are a subscriber. You can subscribe using either an Amazon Prime subscription or by subscribing in the normal way. Press the buttons and find out if you want to. Of course, you do not have to subscribe. It's just enough having
right, pulled it up. How is the sound for everyone?
and you would like to, you may tell us where you've tuned in from. I see people have already started to do it. It is my favourite thing when we do these previews, is to see people chiming in with their location.
Let me know how the sound is, everyone.
Yeah,
cool.
People joining in from all corners of the world. I think one of the nice things about doing it a little bit later on the Saturday is we do manage to catch a few of our American friends as well who don't have to set their alarm for some heinous hour in the morning. They can tune in during breakfast.
I've just seen someone say Shenandoah, Virginia. Is that the Shenandoah that has the Shenandoah River in Country Roads? I need to know, but the chat is going so fast because we've got Scotland, Dallas, Texas, we've got Poland, we've got Montreal calendar. Somebody says yes, that is amazing. I sing that song often to my daughter when it's bedtime.
I assume they sing it as they drive home.
Oh, I would hope so, right? So wherever you are, just welcome. Honestly, it's so exciting to have you all here on what I think is a pretty momentous day, especially if Warhammer Age of Sigmar is your thing. Eddie?
And if it isn't your thing, maybe this box set will inspire you and it will become your thing, because it's a very, very cool box set. I mean, without diving into it just yet, but I think anybody who loves anything about Warhammer, there's some pretty cool stuff in this set. Yeah. But Adam, what hobby have you been up to? We've got a few minutes to fill before we dive into the box proper. Do you want to tell us about what you've been up to in your hobby life?
Alrighty, so
because of getting
this should be nice and exciting.
I haven't got much hobby done since the last time I was on Warhammer TV, I think. So I've been getting some base coats onto the Starblood Stalkers for Warhammer Underworlds. I'm giving Garda Steel Soul, who's still on the desk in front of me, the side eye because he needs to be finished. Because I have every intention of painting one half of the contents of this set in his case scheme. Let's be honest.
Well, I've been painting a fair few bits actually, but I managed to find a few hours here and there to sit down in the evening. So I've nearly finished my squig off. I'm trying to get him done in the next kind of few days so that I can paint up.
Alright, so what are people hoping to see in this box set?
To butt heads in the nicest way possible. I have to give a shout out to Slayer 000, whose hello from the Netherlands was so delightfully highlighted. Welcome, and welcome to everybody as people keep chiming in with where they're from. Somebody from Tokyo. I love how global the Warhammer hobby is. I don't know about you, Eddie, but whenever I'm travelling, I always try and make sure if there's a Warhammer store in the town, I pop in and say hello.
There's something really nice, isn't there, about going into a Warhammer store? Because almost regardless of where you are, I think Warhammer fans everywhere are a really lovely bunch. If you go to a store, also we've had the pleasure to go to some events around the world as well, and I think it's always really nice to do that. And I think one of the things I'm looking forward to probably next year is being able to go to a few of those again and see some people face to face. As lovely as these previews are, it doesn't quite beat showing up and rolling dice and making friends in person.
No, you're absolutely right. And so as the world gets a little bit more back to normal...
Ken Yong, hello there, mate. Yeah, do the same as what they've done. Everyone chime in where you're watching from, what you're coming to join us, how you're doing.
We've got more people chiming in. We've got people from South Africa. We've got somebody from Newcastle, Australia. Our friends down under have joined us. Welcome, one and all. Hi from Taiwan. This is fantastic. Somebody in the chat has said, "Wait, it's not 6 o'clock yet." Normally, we would begin a few minutes before 6, and then we wouldn't begin what I would describe as sort of getting into the reveals until probably like 10 past, 6:15. But we have something so mind-blowingly awesome to show you that at about 3 minutes past 6, we're just going to hit play and let it happen.
Cool.
So,
and I think if you guys have been doing some hobby as well at home, we're always curious to see what you've been up to too. So if you've got any projects on the go at the moment, do let us know in the chat. Anything particularly cool or anything you're looking forward to in the next edition of Age of Sigmar as well. If you've been eyeing up a new army you're thinking of collecting for the next few years for the new edition, then let us know about that as well. How have the last few years of Age of Sigmar been for you, Adam? What's your Age of Sigmar experience been of the previous edition?
Well, so I am what I would describe as an Age of Sigmar casual. I paint a lot more than I play for it, and almost everything I painted for Age of Sigmar has either been for my Stormcast Eternals army, which you can see maybe there, somewhere like that, and also I paint a fair few Warhammer Underworlds warbands because they let me sort of dip my sort of
so yeah into, Drakes, people reckon we're going to see Drakes. What else do we reckon we're going to see? Do we reckon we're going to get Yndrasta in the launch box? That would be cool if we got Yndrasta.
Which landed just before the previous edition dropped, and I think it's just one of those armies that just immediately resonated with me. I love every single miniature in the range. I think they're a wonderful opportunity for color schemes, and the miniatures are really dynamic and interesting and fun, and that kind of really
because that would be cool.
Wonderful element. Of
Get Yndrasta in the actual launch box would be really cool.
Hobby, I think, with a few exceptions of like the odd conversion here and there.
Really excited to see what we're about to see.
It's mostly been
and obviously, for those who don't know, I'm from Adelaide, Australia.
Your Idneth army is particularly gorgeous, though. I've got to give it credit.
That's the thing. So, like, all of the eels are like about one highlight away from being finished. So, I am at some point going to have to kind of.
There's quite a few people that join in from Poland. Jay Dursley's one of our regulars, Marjana, and well, I've seen you a couple of times in here now, which is really cool.
Some of the keywords are finished, but
Exo RNW, that new Lord Celston we saw in like the little trailer. I think that's going to be the cinematic trailer. I don't know what you think, but I reckon that will be the cinematic trailer we see.
Grave Lords, Blood Knights, and Reichen the Grimhaler, Crematorium, Bone Reapers on the pink table at the moment. Eldritch Zinch, Sorcerer Eddie. I'm not sure if that's just a reference to you or maybe somebody's name is Sorcerer after you.
That's true, yeah.
Drycat and the Spirit of the Mountain. Spirit of the Mountain, is that the
Lumineth,
massive mountain cow?
Awesome. The Draker is a great miniature as well. I think I've been eyeing up Sylvaneth a little bit as well in the last few weeks as well, off the back of that new miniature we've seen that was launched today, actually. A big fan of the Sylvaneth. I think the Alarial miniature is one of those models that it's definitely one of my favourite models we've ever released, but I've never actually gotten around to painting it, but it's absolutely just one of the coolest things ever. And she does have a friendly war scroll today. So,
by that last name, I was going you somewhere like Poland, Ukraine, that sort of area.
If you were to describe the set in a single word beside Dominion, what would it be? Raf has chimed in with the word that was very similar to what I was thinking. He said hefty. I believe it is a pretty sizable box in terms of. I've never done a poll on which Warhammer boxes are the heaviest.
Donald, that's a pretty good shout, man.
Hefty works for me.
Like Beastie, maybe. Or
Beastie. Oh, look at the guy dropping what could or could not be a hint. Well, there you go. The Vendents will be my next project. Witch Hunters for the win. I really like the Vendents. And I saw
they go hunting as a family as well.
I saw somebody on the internet had connected a piece of like esoteric lore.
That's good. That's good lore diving.
I haven't corroborated the sources, but one of my favourite characters for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, I have one painted on my shelf, is the Lord Relictor that came in the original Warhammer Age of Sigmar box. Ionis Cryptborn, I want to say his name was. And there's a nugget of lore that suggests that he descended from an ancient family called the Vendents, and if that connects the two, and now they're sort of hunting the forces of death, that's exciting. Raf has just told me in my ear that it is 6 o'clock. What I'm going to do is I'm going to re-welcome everybody. If you've joined us...
Alrighty, getting ready, everyone. This is going to be sweet.
Welcome to this live stream today. You have joined the Warhammer Preview Online.
He has zero Durthies in...
Adam Troke. This is my friend and colleague, Eddie Eccles, and we represent the Warhammer community team, and it is our absolute honour and privilege today to take you through what is, quite frankly, one of the most exciting things in Warhammer in, I don't know, ages, as we unbox the launch edition. Sorry, I was looking at it. As we unbox the launch edition for the launch box for the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Now, I can see the chat is filling up rapidly.
Let's do this.
Any moment now, we are going to kick this thing off with, quite frankly, one of the best videos you're going to see. So if you've got a friend who is, maybe you're in a Discord,
I'm excited.
Calling your hobby mates in, or you've got your friends on a Facebook group or whatever, better let them know that we are about to start the show properly.
To give about 30 seconds, I think, Adam, and then we'll press play on our first video. Honestly, the first video is super cool, guys. You're going to absolutely love it. I think it's, as Adam says, I think it's one of my favourite videos we've ever made.
Cool. So I think the first video, we're going to get a cinematic trailer.
All right. Well, in that case, I will do a bit more preamble, and then we're in. Wherever you are in the world, it has been a delight for you to join us. If you want to ask questions during the show, we'll do our best to answer them. But there is already 18,000 of you, so please put a big capital question in front of your what you'd like to ask, and we'll do our best to cover it off. We are going to be talking specifically about
Troke and Eddie are great people. Like, I really enjoy them.
The Dominion box. So if you want to ask me about something truly unusual, I might not be able to cover you. I can see some of my personal friends in the chat, so a shout out to all of you, great people. Right, why don't we begin this preview show with something awesome.
Alrighty. Yeah, we're getting a cinematic trailer.
Remember why we fight. Chaos won. The dark gods broke us. Demons and blood-pledged warriors wrought ruin and left only ash and bone in their wake. The mortal realms, so hard won.
This is
lost.
great.
In the face of such defeat, the armor of mortals could not hold. Pride, greed, ambition tore apart the alliance the God King had built among the races. It is well then that we are not mortal. Forged in celestial storm, we are the chosen of Sigmar. We are hope manifest, and where we stand, there will be light in the darkness.
Oh, halberds.
No matter the cost.
Ooh!
Even as our souls begin to fade, death is not the end. Our war is eternal. And so we must remember. Remember why we fight.
Oh, yeah. That was it. 2 thumbs up from me. That was wicked.
We are back, we are still live, and that was the official cinematic trailer for Warhammer Age of Sigmar's 3rd edition. And it's blown my socks off, Eddie. I don't know about you.
It's just an incredibly cool...
Who's happy about that? That looked awesome.
It's always amazing to see Warhammer miniatures and the worlds and the realms brought to life, and I don't think we've ever seen the Mortal Realms brought to life in quite such vivid, awesome detail. I think so many cool things about that trailer. There's an awful lot of stuff in there that obviously hints at some of the contents in that new box set, so I think we can dive into some of it and have a little look through at some of the screens from the trailer before we open the box set proper. But I think it starts off with this very kind of atmospheric, thematic scene with the Lords walking down the corridor. There's pieces of artwork that are familiar to lots of people who've been looking through the...
It was really fun. It was really fun seeing the chat call out the things that they recognise as well, and I think that kickstarted the speculation as this Stormcast hero sort of stomps down this amazing sort of processional in Sigmaron. Amazing.
Yeah, so the kind of pictures representing the great battles and scenes and achievements or defeats of the Stormcast throughout the years, which obviously is very familiar to people who've been following the story. But a nice little kind of nod and introduction. If you're new to Warhammer Age of Sigmar, a nice little kind of like, here's a quick catch up with some...
Yeah, they're weird like grot orcs.
Cool, and I think this is your favourite scene in the whole...
It absolutely is. Yeah, it is. So I had the privilege of seeing
there's
this
some...
for the first time
this
few
looks
days
solid.
ago, and I cannot get over how cool this piece of art is. It brings
really
to
like
life,
that piece of art.
Sigmar's sort of kingdom within the realm of Azir, and I love it. It just looks so cool. This enormous bridge. You can see his silhouette as he stomps across just everything I could possibly want out of the realm of heavens and Sigmaron, the enormous fortress palace of Sigmar himself.
And you get a kind of sense of scale of it, don't you? Because I think we've talked a lot about the realm of heavens in the past, and it's been described a few times. And there's a few pieces of artwork, but I don't think anything was quite
excited to actually see what these models look like, though.
Sigmarabulum and the kind of scale of Azir before. This
Also, if you're watching, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Helps everyone come and find the channel easier.
If I'm not mistaken with what the next picture is, you get the sense of the sort of incredible immortal power of these the Stormcast, the bits where the lightning lightning sort of emanates from his eyes, and then you see lightning as he grasps the weapons that are handed to him by the warriors around him. Just look at this scene. They're all preparing to strike down on the lightning itself and into the mortal realms.
And I think on the left there, I think we haven't seen those kind of Stormcasts before. There's a new type of Stormcast there with a halberds. I think that's something we've not seen. And we have seen the guy on the right, that's an Annihilator, we know that, which is one of the new Paladin level Stormcasts, so the heavy hitters. And we saw in the trailer itself just how hard they hit. A few of those enemies went flying, didn't they? When they got hit by the halberd.
And it just creates this great image, doesn't it? This fantastic concept of the Stormcast sort of readying for their attacks down into
Those halberdiers look really cool. I really dig the halberds.
Strike down and rescue a city of Sigmar, which is in quite the dire straits.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, right? Okay, so this is what I came for. So we got our first real look. We got our first real look in this trailer at the bad guys, the antagonist from the new edition. So I think we can. We haven't seen this before. This appears to be a new kind of faction. I think a few people were calling out hobgoblins or orcs and things, and I think there's a few hints and nods. You're not far wrong on a few of those calls, and we'll look at this faction in a little bit more detail very, very soon. Then this is the Lord, the kind of coming out of the lightning itself. I love that bit.
No, these are a bit more than grots.
Stormcast materialize out of the lightning before, have we? But I think they captured it really well in that bit.
I think the chat is divided on whether or not the Stormcast are truly the good guys, which is quite fun.
Oh, well, they clearly are. Look at them, they're showing up. I mean, the destruction forces work very hard to kind of secure a victory, and then, out of nowhere, the Stormcast just pop up and steal it from them.
If you look carefully, it's well worth a rewatch, and the video will be available on the Warhammer community website, if not by now, certainly in a little while. And in the background, as the city's burning, you can see Duardin and so on being stabbed by the enemies.
Yeah, there's a few elves and
crossbowman is
right,
cool.
Another glimpse there at some of the forces of destruction. So this guy is really interesting because this is obviously a green skin of some sort, but a green skin with a fairly hefty looking ranged weapon, which is very interesting for green skin, because most of the time about the best thing you can do for ranged weapon if you're a green skin player at the moment is a grot with a short bow, which doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but this is definitely a crossbow that can punch through Stormcast armor, as we saw delivered very effectively in the trailer. So a very different angle there for the forces of destruction.
Not a good day to be wandering around without a shield, I think. And then, well, I'll let you, Eddie. This is your favourite.
Yeah, this is the money shot, isn't it?
This is freaking cool.
You've got the Lord
really
of
digging.
The forces of destruction there on the back of some kind of massive beast. We can see that huge shield. There's a lot of stuff going on in this, and we'll obviously have a look at this in more detail and some of the miniatures themselves. But we can see already kind of hints at that kind of ancient-looking gnarls, almost kind of squiggish-looking shield, which is a little bit of a nod and a wink to some of your really, really classic Warhammer fantasy orcs. Really, if you go back long enough, that was a kind of staple of your orc shields, but kind of really taken to the nth degree. And then the creature that he's riding, I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like that before. So it could be a brand new monster of some sort. Very cool.
I love it. And there we are. I think that was a well worthwhile little tour through the cinematic trailer for the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And as I said, you'll be able to watch it to your heart's content on Warhammer.
Well, that's what we were told. Lord of the Rings style looks is what they were going for.
But
apparently,
whichever, make sure you have a good pause, particularly in the bits where there's things happening in the background when you see the city burning. It's pretty cool.
It's a really well put together trailer. There's loads of little nuggets and details and things. So by all means, dive into it, pause it. There's loads of cool little details that will reward you for rewatching and watching through.
So anything else you want to cover off about that awesome cinematic trailer, Eddie?
Well, I think I'd be curious to know what the people in the chat thought their favourite bit was. If anyone's got a particular moment that they were like, I love that bit, or I think we were talking about a little bit before which our favourite bits were. I particularly like, obviously I like it when the Forces of Destruction take down that Imperial, that Stormcast and knock him down a peg or two. That was obviously the best bit. But the particular moment I think that stood out for me is the bit where the Annihilator just punches his shield into one of those onrushing orcs, and he just kind of like caves in half under him. That's what a mortal wound looks like, I think.
Yeah, you're almost certainly right. For me, it's the...
they look more Age of Sigmar, these orcs.
The Stormcast hero walking across the bridge, or it's when he grasps the weapons and you see the lightning read his hands. Lots of people are saying things like, show us the models. We will, don't worry, but we'll do it in our own time. I might reset the clock.
It'd be pretty cool if we had a box to crack open.
Somebody says, please, what are the greenskins? I couldn't agree more. Maybe we'll tell you all about it. I feel like the chat feel like we're teasing them, and that's definitely
we might be teasing a little. I mean, I think we're teasing in the coolest possible way with like an absolutely incredible trailer, but we can, I think, without too much more beating around the proverbial bush, probably dive in and show some toy soldiers.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, Robot Dracoline says, I like the upcoming bit where you actually show models. Well, why don't we play the next video and see what happens?
All right, so we're going to see the models now. Oh. She's in the box set. Yes. Oh, the Banner Bearer.
I mean, it's an amazing looking box set, isn't it?
I think probably not wrong to say one of the best Warhammer box sets of any description ever to come out of the Warhammer studio. An absolutely incredible box set of miniatures, I think. But either side is spectacular. I think we're going to start off by diving into the Stormcasts in a bit more detail, but we will quickly come on to what I consider to be the better half. But I think, Adam, you'll be probably the other opinion.
Yeah, I'm definitely all in on the Stormcast. And we've seen a few of these before when we did Warhammer Fest. So Indrasta, the Celestial Spear, will be familiar to you if you follow along on each of our previous shows. She is an incredible centerpiece model for a Stormcast army and has a really interesting backstory, right, Eddie?
Yes, she does. She is Sigmar's beast killer, basically. So he sends her off.
This is cool that she's in the box set.
So we know a little bit about her already. She's basically a similar sort of level to something like the Celesta Prime, and kind of the interesting thing that she sets up as well is this idea that like Sigmar has several of these kind of champions who have slightly different roles within his forces, but she can put into any storm host. You can paint her whatever color you want. She is like a powerful,
really cool
kind of top tier level character in the mortal realms, and that's just really cool that such an awesome centerpiece kit comes in the launch box set for the game as well. You know, she's one of your best Stormcast characters in the whole army, and she comes in this box. It's pretty cool. But we've seen her before, so let's move on and see what else.
This is the poster hero from the cinematic trailer, a
Lord Imperator
with his very own Griffhound, and you get the option of heads. I'm stoked for this guy. I love Stormcast Eternal Heroes. I've painted pretty much one of every one we've done so far, and I can't wait to add this guy to my force. And there's so much to take in. Not only does he have an awesome cloak.
Sorry, I'm just trying to check something.
The weapons that will befit the office that he holds. But he also has that fantastic sort of...
There's such cool models, just having a good look at them.
On his sort of shoulder, which holds his cloak down. And as you can see, it's got that same sort of Dwarden stylized image of Sigmar on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads to love about this miniature. It's just a beautiful character model. I think also comes with a Griffhound, and I think anybody who collects Stormcast almost without fail has a soft spot for Griffhounds.
This is so cool.
The most fun, I think. He's got a little kind of dangling hammer there on his collar, which I particularly like, and that kind of feather tail sticking out the back. Over the shoulder of the Lord Imperatant as well, you've got a larger kind of griff beast. So I don't know if we know the story of this, possibly a mount previously that's been slain by his enemies and he's kind of rewarded it, or maybe a beast in the wilds of Azir that he's slain. I'm not quite sure the backstory.
Just the griff doesn't think about it too hard and it'll be fine.
Yeah, it might be like a pack thing. Maybe it's like, he killed the biggest one and the rest of them follow him. Or maybe it's...
That's a really nice looking griff hound on there. I really dig the Imperator.
I don't quite know how griff things work. Do they grow up to be griff chargers? Is that the thing?
I couldn't even begin to look. He's armed with a blessed warhammer and a Stormcaller baton. And his function within the Stormcast armies is that they are essentially the strategists. Think of them as the tacticians, whereas your Lord Celestins are more sort of the frontline killing machines.
Yeah, so and done in the same sort of armor as the other Stormcast that we've seen. So a Knight Arcanum. So this is your spellcaster mage, a really cool looking miniature. I think we're divided, Adam, between which head we think is best, but you get both options in the box. I'm a big fan of the kind of bare kind of face mask thing where very little detail, but kind of the interesting gem set into the head. You quite like the unhelmeted version.
Yeah, I'll take the unhelmeted one for mine, but I've got to admit that they're both great. I think the mask is very sinister. And as you would expect from a Knight Arcanum, they are capable in sort of the magical arts. I believe the word on the street is they're skilled in deadly arcano-meteorological sorceries, capable of turning the storm itself into a weapon. Yeah, absolutely.
I think what I like about the face mask and what I like about the fact that you get a choice is that we know that Stormcasts kind of stretch the full gamut, don't we? From people who are like effectively warrior knights, and you could talk to them and converse with them, and they function like a mortal warrior, but with more power. And on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the ones who have been reforged so many times that their personality and their soul and their essence of what made them human.
So many cool models in this box set. It's just,
I like the idea
it's
that the
wicked.
face mask could hide almost any kind of character behind it. So they literally have no personality to go with it. This might be the best Stormcast model in that box, and that's saying something.
I mean, it's in there for best Stormcast Eternals models of all time, and they are a richly served.
This is
the Knight of Exilor with Banner of Apotheosis, and there's just so much to say. I'm going to leap right in by saying, when you look at the reverse angle of this banner, you get the image of an anvil, which is just obviously such a connection to the Anvil of Apotheosis.
This is cool.
Which
the characters are just
themselves forged, and I love it. Banners are the best thing. They make your armies look super rad, and this guy has a super bomb diggity banner. I can't wait.
Yeah. I think I'm right in saying that in the lore, this Banner of Apotheosis actually contains a tiny fragment of the anvil of Apotheosis itself, and that's where your kind of Sigmarite, which is the mined from the metal of the destroyed world that was, and kind of forged into the armor that makes the Stormcast the meteoric iron, comes from. So it's like not just a cool banner, but literally bringing some of the magic of the realm of heaven with it to the battlefield. I just love the pose on this guy, though. He just looks like he's like nobody's taken that banner off him, are they, basically?
No, it's fantastic, isn't it? If I dip into my notes, it says the banner itself features Grungni's depiction of Sigmar on his front side, while the reverse features depictions of Grungni's tools and anvil on the reverse. Combined icon of the unified efforts that work together to create the Stormcast Eternals and the Thunderstrike armor. Sign me up. What's next? Okay. So this might be my favourite unit of Stormcast Eternals to date, and I've got one of everything. These are the Stormcast Eternals Praetors. They are a retinue that act as the bodyguards for Stormcast Eternal heroes, and they don't just connect with them as in, like defend them like any bodyguard would, but they connect with their ward on an arcane spiritual level. So as they fight alongside their masters, they become more like them in sort of mannerism, if not in actual form. And as you can see here, you've got 3 in the set, each one in an incredibly cool pose. I'm hype for these guys.
I think any one of these is like as nice as some of the kind of older hero models for Warhammer. Like each one is just absolutely.
These are.
I can imagine these being one of those ones that are picked out by painters particularly, because you've got that lovely, rich kind of cloak. You've got an opportunity to do some really interesting painting and freehand and stuff with that. You've got the really cool sculptured armor. But what I quite like about the new Stormcast style on a lot of these is you've got a lot of open plates. So if you really, really want to do some show-off painting, you absolutely can. You can put all sorts of patterns and stuff onto them. Or if you just wanted to paint them gold and cover them with a wash and get them on the table.
I'm really digging these new Stormcast.
Yeah, and these guys have Soul Guard halberds, and obviously they're wearing the Thunderstrike armor, which is so important in this grim new era. Here are the big boys.
How cool is that bare head on the Annihilator?
Annihilators with just the most imposing silhouette going, aren't they, really?
They look absolutely amazing. I mean, I think the paladins for the Stormcast, all of the paladins, like your Retributors and stuff, already look like they could wade through a wall, don't they? But these guys have like stepped it up a notch. Like the size of these guys, the shoulder pads, the kind of intimidating presence of them. I mean, look at how thick the legs on these guys are. They just look like nothing is going to stop them, and that's very much how they play as well. Like this is the paladin unit that just takes a beating. So they've got incredibly good saves, and when they land and when they hit, they cause mortal wounds. When they charge into stuff, and you could see that in the trailer. A couple of those guys slam into the orcs.
This is so cool. How freaking awesome are these Stormcast?
Really fun unit, both in terms of like the miniature itself, but also in terms of how they play. I love that the shield design there has got that kind of rune embedded into the center of the shield. What I like about the rest of it is it almost looks like untreated meteoric iron, doesn't it? You've got the kind of bolts of lightning crackling through the kind of, it looks almost like raw star metal. You can imagine just getting like an absolute lump of metal and being like, that'll do, nothing's getting through that, and just putting it in the middle of a shield, and then it's going to smash anything it hits, but also it's going to nothing's going to get through it.
Yeah, the Annihilator Prime looks particularly savage as well, doesn't he? He's just incredible.
The lion breastplate on that guy looks amazing. Such a kind of thematic and cool model. The other two on either side look great, but the Prime, particularly cool breastplate on him, and knee pads. I love the little Prime details you get on the unit leaders.
Oh, they're so good.
Lions and kind of eagles and various other kind of mythical creatures.
Some new different bear heads. And banners. Banners in the unit of Vindictors.
And I'm like, it conjures the right image, doesn't it? As these guys just absolutely pulverize people. So now on the screen, Stormcast Eternals Vindictors. I've been practicing all week saying their name right, which might seem like an easy name when you think about Vindictor, but for me it's been a challenge. So there are 10 in total. You have 5 on this shot, and then the next shot you're going to see the other 5. And these are a battle line unit for the Stormcast Eternals. They are armed with, he says, scrolling through his notes as fast as he can, they are armed with Thunderstrike armor. They're carrying massive shields, and they've got storm spears. And you can think of these as the spiky bulwark, which you will use to dominate the battlefield and poke massive holes in the enemy and just get it done. I'm a huge fan of battle line units. I've got so many Liberators painted. It's really quite ridiculous. And I'm going to add these guys straight into it.
They look really nice. A few things worth saying about this kit is you get a mix of male and female bodies in there as well, which is really cool. So I think both of them look incredibly intimidating.
So much cool stuff.
You've got a few different kind of body shapes mixed in amongst the unit, which gives you a bit more variety in there as well. You've also got a great choice of heads in the box as well. So if you want to have every single one of your Stormcasts with their helmet on, you absolutely can. If you want to make them up with a few helmets off to mix in amongst them, you can as well. And there's a great variety of different heads in the unhelmeted versions as well. So the idea with the Stormcasts, all of the different Storm hosts, is that they're pulled from warriors from all across the mortal realms. So you've got people from like savage tribes. You've got people who used to be like knights protecting cities.
Check out that Prime for a second. In the middle there, he's got like a beard sculpted onto his helmet,
and kind of bonded
which is cool.
The Brotherhood of Stormcast Eternals, but still with that kind of legacy of their warrior past. So if you want to kind of hint at some of that, you absolutely can. Or if you just want to put all the helmets on, paint them gold, get them on the table real quick, they're going to look super cool too. So you can do that.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said, are there heads for the female models in there? They absolutely are. There's a helmeted and an unhelmeted head, I believe, for each of the models in that unit, which is quite exciting. Well, I mean, we could stop here, and the chat wouldn't at all lynch us for not sharing the other things, right?
I think I might lynch you, Adam, if you didn't. If you just did Stormcast and not the awesome stuff on the other side of the box.
Well, why don't we progress over?
Okay. So we're getting another trailer.
Entry number 41. I have had a breakthrough. The beasts made it past the guard. Many were taken. A tragedy, but a fortunate one. A knife left behind. Thinner this time, not at all like the ones in the books. Designed to pierce armor, perhaps, but with what? Not the usual Auric approach either. Barely even shouted. Diversions, far more cunning than before. Something is brewing in the swamps, I'm sure of it. Alas, if my theories are correct, then we are in more trouble than we know.
They look really cool. Great gnash tooth, I love it. This is cool. Oh, that thing in the back is huge. That gnash tooth thing is massive.
If you had told 10-year-old Adam when he got into the Warhammer hobby that we would see models that have this much amazing detail on them in plastic, I would never have believed you. And yet here we are with an incredible new faction or army of Uruks in the other half of our Dominion box. Should we begin here, Eddie?
Yeah, absolutely. So I absolutely love these miniatures. They tick absolutely every box I want from a Destruction Force. I think these are going to be my army for the new edition. These are the Cruel Boys, the Uruk Cruel Boys, and they are a combination of Uruks, which are a kind of slightly more gangly brood of Uruks from the swamp, but they fight dirty, they fight cunning. If you imagine that in the kind of wider pantheon of orcs, you've got the kind of Iron Jaws on the one hand, which are all very brutal, with a little bit of cunning. They're kind of Gork's boys. These are very much Mork's boys. These are the cunning.
These are sweet.
On the other end, so they don't fight fair. They fight from the shadows. They stab you in the back. They shoot you from far away. They'll fight dirty with evil magic tricks and stuff. And they're led by this guy, a killer boss on a great gnash tooth. This is still a fairly hefty looking orc, but it's certainly not quite as beefy as some of the Iron Jaws ones. But he makes up for that by riding around on a great gnash tooth, which is an enormous, great swamp-dwelling thing. We were trying to decide what it most resembled.
I was going for it's the evil crossbreed of a honey badger and a naked mole rat, but with some sort of Uruk magic thrown in.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Tasmanian devil in there. Looks like someone shaved a rabid weasel, doesn't it? And kind of grown it to some horrible size, but a horrible, like swamp-dwelling, monster. We saw it in action in the trailer, and give you a sense of quite how hard it's going to hit. It's going to rip Stormcast characters to pieces when it lands. The boss itself there is the kind of typical of what you can expect from a Cruel Boy boss. He's got a lot of kind of armor. A lot of it is kind of very wickedly cruel, so it's kind of spiked. There's a lot of flayed skin on the model. They all of the Cruel Boys, or a lot of them, have these kind of shields. And what these
freaking cool is this?
Are either kind of their kind of deities or themselves.
Cool. We got the Facebook group set up already, by the way.
Kind of trying to be Kragnos, the kind of great big god of destruction.
Which is a hilarious concept, since they've never seen him. They just, what might he look like?
They think Kragnos is the best thing ever, and a lot of their shields are kind of designed to look like him, but a lot of them have never seen Kragnos, so they just sort of guess what.
So if you want to come jump on Facebook and join the group, we got a Cruel Boys group set up on there for you.
He has the biggest, most impressive shield of the bunch because he's the boss.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying.
This is amazing.
As ever, might makes right, and so this is the mightiest, or the killer bosses are the mightiest of the Cruel Boys, and he's armed with. I had it up on my screen just moments ago because I'm terrible for this. But he's armed with what's called a jagged boss sticker, and then obviously his mount is also super deadly. So you can expect on a turn in which he's charging to combat, he is going to put paid to some serious stuff. He's not the only character, not by any stretch. In this
Swamp Caller Shaman.
And here we have
this is cool.
Swamp Caller Shaman and his attendant pot grot. When we got quite excited about this one earlier on, Eddie.
Yeah, the pot grot is a particularly characterful little chap, isn't he? So we'll start with the Swamp Caller Shaman, then we'll come to the pot grot in a second. So, like all Oryx, there are those of them who are blessed with magical powers, and they can hear the voice of Mork in their head. This guy does a few little tricks for the faction. So he obviously gives you a little bit of magical support, but he's
this is so cool.
Concocting potions and things, so he can kind of create elixirs and things that you can give to your nearby units. to give them extra abilities, or you can use him to kind of summon swamps, summon mist and swamps and kind of things to give you some tactical edges on the battlefield. Like all of the Cruel Boys, they don't fight fair, and one of the ways they don't fight fair is that they bring the kind of mists and unpleasantness of the swamp with them wherever they fight and kind of attack you from the murk.
Yeah, so the chat is very high on the Potgrot at the moment, and with good reason. I just want to point out a couple of the really interesting design features on this model, which you might otherwise miss. The one is that he's got a Gargant skull on his back, wearing it as like some weird armoured cloak thing. But my favourite thing is
so cool.
If you look at the top of his staff pole, that is a symbolic representation of the Hand of Mork. And it gives you that connection to the half of the sort of Uruk pantheon that they're perhaps more concerned with.
Yeah, I think all of the Cruel Boys definitely have more to do with Mork than to do with Gork, although they probably couldn't tell them apart anyway, so there's a little bit of brutal there.
Yeah, so
The boss with
if
Stab
the
Grot.
chat thought that the Potgrot was the...
that little Stab Grot is awesome.
Its rival in the Killer Boss with attendant Stab Grot. So this is a Killer Boss on foot. It's essentially the same premise as the Killer Boss on the Enormous Beast. However, this one's on foot, and one of his feet is actually on the chest of a soon-to-be dead, if not already so, Stormcast Eternal. But he is joined by my favourite thing in the Cruel Boys horde, which is a Stab Grot. I mean, how cool is it? It's very cool. That's how cool.
So a Stab Grot, what I love about little Stab Grot is he's clearly tried to kit himself out so he looks like a tiny version of the Killer Boss to kind of gain some of his kudos and power, perhaps. And effectively, in game terms, what he does is he runs around behind the Killer Boss, and then whenever your opponent is distracted, he kind of quickly stabs them with his little tiny stabber. Although occasionally you can just kind of boot him in front of. If there's a killing blow intended for the Kill Boss, you can kind of hold up the little guy. So
the best thing. The best thing is the chat like would die to protect the Stab Grot, and it's like don't ever talk to me or my child again. But the best thing is because it's sort of Uruk culture, he'll just kick him in front of anybody.
He's very attached to him right up until the point where he isn't. Yeah. But a very cool shield on these guys as well. I think one of the things that you pointed out is that shield on the Stab Grot is actually a shoulder plate from an Uruk, which he's managed to steal and kind of fashion into his own little shield, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just goes to show the sort of wicked design cues that the Warhammer miniatures designers are using. There's also an option, you can give him a great big swingy bomby knocker, that's not the technical name, or his honking great big shield, either way.
How freaking awesome are these models, though?
Character, haven't they? But you have got a way to make it more offensive if you'd want. Right, I think this guy might be my favourite model from the Cruel Boys in the set. This is a Merknob with Melcher banner. So
that's cool.
It's a great name.
Melcher, it's a great name, isn't it? So basically, what this guy's got is a banner, and you can see on the banner there's this tongue hanging down. And what they guys do is they sneak into the swamp, so they find these great big horrible reptilian lizard things that kind of belch smoke and gas and stuff, and they kill them, they chop off their tongue, and they stick them inside a banner, and the tongue keeps kind of emitting swamp gas for months and months and months after they've stuck it in the banner. So when this guy carries it round, he kind of brings with him the kind of fog and murk and mist of the swamps wherever he goes. Another way of their kind of fighting dirty thing. Another really nice thing about this is that the banner itself represents the kind of totem hierarchy of the Cruel Boys and their kind of pantheon. So at the top of it, you've got the
freaking
Kragnos.
awesome are these models?
Again, they might never have seen Kragnos, but they've given it a good go. He's got kind of horns, he's got like a big red head at the top. And then underneath him, you've got the symbol for the...
I'm all about Stab Grot. Like, I will protect Stab Grot with my life.
Who are underneath all of that, and then hanging on for good measure are the severed heads of a few enemies who, just to remind.
What's interesting is this is the Destruction faction. It's going to be really fun to paint. There's so much more detail crammed into these than like the other Orc models.
Okay, this guy got the worst job of the lot. Here, Joe, you get to carry the tongue stick again. I love it. I really do love that connection from sort of the sort of primal deities they worship with Kragnos, and then through the Uruks, and then the Hobgrots with the teeny tiny little what would you call it, disc, I guess, at the bottom of the banner. Right. But it's not all heroes, although that would be awesome, in the set. They are also joined by a number of...
these are cool. How freaking nice.
Skewer Bolt Boys, and you saw just how horrendous these can be in that cinematic trailer, as one of these shot the Lord Imperator right in the chest, I guess. What are these like on the battlefield, Eddie?
Yeah, so these are man-skewer bolt boys, and they are a very different thing for Oryx than we've seen before. Most of the time, Oryx like to kind of charge in and do the fighting up close and personal. There are a few within Oryx culture who like to fire from the back of the battlefield and play a little bit dirty. What these guys basically do is they pick off weak targets or targets of opportunity, soften up some stuff ahead of the rest of your cruel boys heading into combat. Your basic cruel boys maybe don't hit quite as hard as something like an Iron Jaw, but they make up for it with softening up the elements of the enemy army ahead of time. Things like that Lord Imperator who is just standing around, looking like a big massive lightning.
These are really nice. I really dig these.
Out in front of some cruel boys, you get shot by man-skewer bolt boys.
Yeah, now one of the things that I quite like about this is that the cinematic trailer connects quite nicely to the rules that have been produced by the amazing guys in the Warhammer studio. These can be used in one of two ways. They can either do hasty shots, which are quicker and a little bit less considered, or if they don't move, you can do an aimed shot, which does mortal wounds instead. And I think that's what Lord Imperator was on the receiving end of.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, while he's fighting the kill boss, he's also getting hit by 2 or 3 more of those bolts. So he's taken about 6 or 7 mortal wounds by the time that he decides to eventually dissipate into a bolt of lightning, which is probably fair. That's kind of what happens. Right, so these are the gut rippers. This is your battle line unit of cruel boys, and this is basically a unit of Oryx with scary shields and spears. So that on the face of it is your kind of.
I really dig these models. Like,
they've got a few.
I haven't liked Destruction Army this much. This is really cool.
One of the things that's interesting about them is the way that they fight. Basically, they don't just run in and stab. They kind of taunt their enemy first. They're particularly cruel and savage, so they'll run up and they'll kind of use their shields to intimidate their foes.
Stormcast are the poster boys. They'll always get models because they make money. They sell
and things to their enemies first, and a lot of their shields are actually designed to match the Oryx who's carrying it. So if you look at the top left on my screen, you've got the one that's got an eye patch. His shield also has an eye patch because it's kind of modelled after him. So if you imagine these guys are going to run up to the front of the enemy battle line, they're going to bang on their shields, they're going to make a lot of noise, they're going to taunt the enemy, and then probably they're going to get stabbed in the back by the grots or something who are sneaking around behind them before the Oryx charge in.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody in the chat says, "Whoa, right, sneaky like." Yeah, these guys are emerging from the box.
They're still wild.
Yeah, I reckon you get a good one out of it. I just love the idea of sort of a jostling shield wall of leering faces as they sort of prepare to bring home their charge.
This is just awesome. And then Hobgoblin Slizzers.
Really cool. Sorry, go on, Eddie.
No, carry on.
Well, so they're not the only infantry unit available. The Hobgrot Slitters are joining the fray as part of the Dominion box set. These are my favourite things after the Stabgrot in the Cruel Boys side of the box. These guys are very familiar in terms of the design cues to some things that we maybe know from a world that was.
Yeah, so there's some interesting things they bring not only to the army in terms of what they add to it, but also to the lore of the Cruel Boys. So from a gaming perspective, this is basically your chaff skirmish unit. So they're not as powerful as Oryx, but you can use them to take objectives, to screen things. Anybody who plays Warhammer Age of Sigmar knows that you basically need some units whose job it is to die, so the other units don't have to. So they can stand on the things that are important, and they can get charged by stuff that you don't want other stuff to get charged by, that sort of thing. But they have a few tricks up their sleeve, so they're all carrying. You can see that they've got like little grenade things, which are basically very simple explosive devices that they can hurl at their enemies. So they're not without defenses, but they're certainly not going to
little grenades. Nice.
Fights one-on-one, but ganging up, they might be able to take down a couple of Stormcast between them. But from a lore perspective, they do an interesting thing because these guys are the intermediaries in the kind of weird destruction economy between the Cruel Boys and some darker masters that the Hobgrots have elsewhere, and they trade captives that the Oryx managed to capture on their raids.
I like the weird proportions to them. I really dig the weird proportions.
Elsewhere in the realms, so that's a fun little nod to the wider ecosystem, I suppose, of the Age of Sigmar.
I saw Raph in person for the first time in a while this week, and he and I were talking about the Hobgrots, and he was super excited by that little nugget of information. Their armour is a slightly different style. They've got these, I can't remember the name of the grenades, they're called scrap grenades, which are something, not typical of the Uruk clans, and it links towards this unusual connection, maybe something very familiar from the world that was.
You can see that they've got better armor than most of the.
So, did we
know
just
that
get
weaponry
Chaos Dwarves confirmed? Was that
shivs
Chaos Dwarves are actually a thing?
That's how they like it. But their armor is slightly better made and manufactured than the stuff that
Right.
the Cruel Boys are wearing.
Oh boy.
And
And you get
this,
20 of those guys in a box as well, so it's not just
Wow,
one, so
that-
the 10
that
of those, you get two
Killer Boss
lots of them.
on
Here's the
Mega
full
Thing
box set
is
laid out in all of
huge.
its glory, and it is an absolutely incredible set of miniatures.
yeah, it's a stonking set, isn't it? So you've got 60 Citadel miniatures in total within the box, as well as you'll have a full core book. You've got data cards for all of your units, and then you've got a start here. War and
Chaos Dwarves are a thing.
which you were telling me a little bit about before we began, Eddie.
Yeah, so this is basically like the reason these two factions are fighting. Obviously, for a lot of people, this box set is the way to dive into the new edition of Age of Sigmar, and it's a great way to start two different armies. But it's also like a battle in a box, if you want it to be. And War at the Amberstone Watch gives you a little bit of the lore in the background about what's going on, why these two factions are fighting. And there's a lot of things going on in the Mortal Realms new edition that have kind of set up a lot of new battlefields. So there's this concept of lots of the forces of Sigmar kind of venturing out into unexplored portions of the Mortal Realms to find new places to create cities. And what that obviously does is the Mortal Realms are full of horrible, horrible things, not least of which being the Cruel Boys. And a lot of these settlements get attacked, and the Stormcast are kind of on a constant war footing to kind of drive back the forces of destruction, of chaos, of death, but particularly destruction, especially in the realm of beasts with the rise of Kragnos, that keep attacking these little settlements. And War at the Amberstone Watch is one of those examples, but it's typical of the wider battles that are happening all across the Mortal Realms.
Fantastic. Let's take a look at the core book itself. The core book that comes inside Dominion is a special cover, which you see here. It has Indrasta sort of, I guess, striking down, literally appears on a bolt of lightning through just hordes of wibbly tentacle demon things. And this is the special cover that comes on the core book that you'll find inside Dominion. It will be followed later by a standard release version, which will have a different cover.
Yeah, really cool book. It's a beautiful book. There's loads of this stuff in it. So we have a few other bits and bobs to talk to you about. But if you are looking for miniatures, stick around, please, because the Dominion box set is not the only miniatures that we're going to show you today. So a few hints, some of the future stuff that Orcs and Stormcast Eternals will get. But before we have a few other bits and bobs to talk to you about first, specifically about the new edition as a whole.
Alrighty, so let's get into some info here.
He says, and then turns to his notes because he's very excited. We've shown the book. I think it's time to do the unboxing cam, Eddie.
Let's do the unboxing cam.
I apologise in advance, guys, if this gets wobbly and strange, because I'm going to simultaneously try and be in shot, be unboxing, and then my poor old dog was very confused today when I went downstairs and stole his grooming table. Mrs. Troke is not in the house, so nobody could stop me. Although if we could not mention to her that I stapled this mat to it, that would be for the best.
I'm going to unbox mine at the same time, I think, and I'm just going to enjoy that new box smell for a little bit.
See,
that shaking on the screen is making me nauseous.
New book smell. I don't object to it, but it's certainly never been...
This box will be cheaper than you think. I can guarantee that.
The new box smell is like one of the top 5 about the new box.
This box will be cheaper than you think.
It smells great. For those of you who appreciate
it's so heavy.
those of you who appreciate new box smell, it does.
That is
smells great.
cool. Yay, we're back to getting a full art piece in the box set. That can go on the wall.
I like it. So you have this is really to protect the contents of the box, but you've got a really nice piece of artwork on some card, and then you are in Sprue City. Can everybody see this all right? Yeah.
Don't know if you can see. You can sort of see. I've got like that whole wall up there is covered in artwork.
I need to find somebody in the office or something who wants to trade their other Uruks for more Hobgrots, because I want Hobgrot again. Love it. Yeah. So I've got the Vindictors, 2 frames of Vindictors.
Yeah, this will be a really
very exciting.
cheap considering what's in it box. This will be like Indominus.
On these miniatures, there's loads and loads of cool little bits. I think I'm just looking through them now. I think obviously these are beautiful miniatures. I think all the stuff the studio's been putting out recently is certainly has been. They are push fit, so if you didn't want to glue them, it looks like you could probably put the vast majority of these together without the need for glue, which is pretty cool. Or if you want to glue them and make sure that none of the heads ever fall off, that option too. There are quite a lot of options in the box set for.
Ken, you're probably on the money there. $290, probably $290, $325, somewhere around there.
Yeah, So I believe each of the Vindictors certainly has an option of 2 hits. Eddie, the chat is asking quite sort of urgently, what's the availability on this? Now, you've got the info on that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this box set will be available while stocks last. It will be available to pre-order in the month of June. We don't have the exact date for you today, but it will be available to pre-order in June. We have made an awful lot of this box, but if you do want to get yourself a copy, it will definitely be worth pre-ordering it when the time comes. We are confident we've made an awful lot of them, but it will be available while stocks last box.
So the chat says, get them close if you want to see the details. So I have this, and I thought I could do is maybe lift them up and put them on that, and it might get a clearer picture. So here we have the Praetors, which are my personal favourites. I want to see what we got for head options for a start. I'm quite excited.
Yeah, like this box will be while stocks last. It'll be like Indomitus.
3 helmeted heads,
Like that is nothing of a shock. And then at launch of the actual edition, we'll get the starter sets, which will be smaller variations of this box set.
An unhelmeted head potentially for at least 2 of them. That's pretty cool. You've also got these nice little, it's the small things in life sometimes that delight this particular trope. And you've got all these little, I'll point to one, little plugs that you can push into the bases, the little slots on the bases. They've got like skulls and other bits and pieces on them. That's really nice.
I think one of the things that I'm really enjoying about the kits actually at the moment, just looking through them, is there is like a theme throughout the whole set, which is this kind of swamp setting.
This is just...
So lots of the kits have like little...
So I'm guessing in Australian dollars, I'm going to guess somewhere around Indomitus's price, because Indomitus was the price of, with upgraded price, it was released at the time when they did a price increase. So I can assume Indomitus will be somewhere correct. It'll be about $290 Australian, probably. Pretty similar to that. I'll be back in 1 second.
Yeah, it certainly has that
Please
sort
do
of side. Now, the frame I've got out here now, this has got the Knight Arcanum on one side, and then it's got the Killer Boss with Stabgrot on the other side. So they're sort of joined on one frame. I'm guessing by the look of that they're probably going to both be on 40mm bases, but maybe the Killer Boss might be a 50. He's got quite a large scenic base piece. We have the is it the Swamp Caller Shaman and the Lord Imperator on this one. It's amazing. One of the things that never ceases to absolutely blow my mind, I don't know if you can get a decent look at this, guys, is the pieces that the Warhammer...
Sorry about that. I'm sitting down at the table for too long.
This halo piece here, and just how it connects to the shoulder of the Lord Imperator. Amazing.
Indomitus is sort of still around. It's only because there's copies laying about. When this is gone, this will be gone. Unless they've underestimated again and they do what they did with Indomitus and release another.
2/3 of the way through, I would say, judging by it. So these are...
that is some terrible camera quality there, Mr. Troke.
I've jostled myself too much and I've gone out of focus. Raffle helped me reset it and return the world to some sort of order. In the meantime, I'll just be excited. Yeah,
so fear not, everyone. This is the launch box for the edition. This will go out of stock eventually, like Indominus did. And so what will happen with this is we'll get a starter set after this with the launch of the edition proper. So don't stress. You probably just won't get maybe won't get Yndrasta and the big dude in the launch box, the actual edition box. I would say would be a safe bet.
So if you do pick up a copy of Dominion, would be the only way to get this particular version of the core book. But it's a really lovely looking book, and it also smells really good. It's got like a new book smell to it as well. For those of you who care about those things.
Yndrasta comes on the same frame as the Knight of Exilor and the Annihilators, by the look of it, which makes me think that this will be the first place you can get her, but not necessarily the only. Very excited. I love the shields, man. I've got to admit, they are amazing. And I like it when all the little back details are put on as well. Although I'm not one of these people who builds things in sub-assemblies. Whack it all together, throw paint in it, hope it works. That is my strategy for life. You have another divider here. It is exactly the same as the other one. Ooh, I like how that looks. That's really good. So we've got these two little flaps, which have got an assortment of bases nestled away underneath them. I'm going to whip out.
This is just sweet. I can't wait to get this box get painted up and get it on the channel playing games with it.
You know, standard 25mm slotters. You've got some 40s in there with the double slots, and then you've got, what's that going to be? A 60, probably even says on the back. I don't know, 60 mil. And then this is going to be for the killer boss riding his horrendous monster. And we've got a little pack which contains all the. It feels very lucky to be doing this. So we've got Dominion, the instruction guide, no less. So if you're like me and a bit of a numpty when it comes to putting models together, you can sink your teeth into this. Somebody was asking me loads of questions about bases. Should you be listening still? You have 22 25mm bases, 14 32mm bases, 22 40mm bases, one 65, and one 105mm oval. So if you were excited about base sizes, not me, but if you are,
some people really like base sizes.
I'm gonna want to make some swamp bases for those cruel boys. I think like try and do like some water resin pours or something like that.
And it's got some narrative. It looks like it's got sort of loads of lore detail on all the characters and creatures inside of it. I might turn the light off on that, see if that gives you a better picture. I don't know if that helps or not. Yep, fantastic. Doesn't contain the rules because they're all on these, which is a lovely set of cards. I'm just going to rip the paper. Don't do it, Adam. Don't do it. Do it. There we go. So we've got sort of cards for all of the characters and creatures and stuff within there. Now, if you were more of a rules guy than me when it comes to Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you could probably pounce right into this and tell you what's awesome. I'm just going to go straight through because I want to know what a meteoric hammer does for an annihilator. Exclusive right now. Oh yeah, all right. So 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, -1 rend, and 2 damage. That is quite awesome. Gonna have a proper read of those later. Sorry, off camera, guys. And then the surprisingly massive core book, which
I've cracked this open myself, and it's 360 pages, so it's a hefty tome. Some really
this is just sweet.
Artwork in this as well. You probably can't see it on my screen,
can we show you these other models you've been talking about?
Really luscious double-page spread artwork in there, which is really nice. Lots of kind of lovely photography as well. I think that we were saying some of the photography in the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar is some of the best that the studio has ever created.
There's a shot we'll show you later on in this stream, actually, which is put together by the Warhammer studio, and I'll tell you what, you've just never seen better miniatures photography. I love it. This book is massive. It's just absolutely packed. I know the Warhammer Age of Sigmar team in particular has really focused on sort of breathing more depth into the setting for the Mortal Realms. And you're going to, by the look of it, see quite a lot more of that in here. Phil Kelly, not just one of my heroes, but also one of the
this is just sweet
main guys in the Warhammer studio.
Really love that piece of artwork in here.
Has done an awful lot of work on this new edition. I'm going to slide back into my normal spot now. There we go.
Yeah, we're probably due to kind of roll on at this point, Adam. So
we're going to see some more models, which is nice. Was not expecting them.
Lots to talk about.
Oh, cool.
So
Darius Hinks wrote Dominion.
Mention off the back of Dominion, which is that accompanying the box sets available separately. There will be a new novel about Dominion from Darius Hinks, which will give you this kind of story.
Darius Hinks is solid. I really enjoy his stuff. He's written a lot of the Go Trek novels. So that's going to be really cool.
Versus the Cruel Boys. Darius Hinks is a Black Library author with a fine vintage of stories. Particularly enjoyed his Warhammer Fantasy Battle Orion series. For anyone who's read that.
And then he wrote Orion, which I'm quite fond of as well.
Your new edition.
So I think it's worth saying that we've cracked open our core books, but we haven't really talked in any detail about what's new for the actual edition of the game.
Cool.
Maybe we can get a little bit of help from one of the guys in the Warhammer community team for that.
And then just a cheeky highlight of silver on the very edges of the arm, like that.
Nay! It is I, the benevolent and omnipotent Sigmar.
Sigmar himself!
Silence! We have no time for inane mortal babblings. Now tell me, what are you doing?
Well, I'm just painting these new Stormcast Eternals. They're cool and all, but...
I said silence. Sigmar does not engage in idle chit-chat. I am here to give you 8 new things about the new Warhammer Age of Sigmar.
All right. 8 new things.
1. This is the best rule set you have ever seen.
This is an information.
Cleaner, clearer, and more elegant than ever before.
Amazing! And I thought they couldn't get any better.
They can, and they have.
This is so.
These are rules you could take home to meet your parents. 2. Your heroes have more to do than ever before. That means more command points and more abilities.
Crikey!
Yes, more chances to show off in front of the troops, thanks to all new heroic actions. 3. Monsters are called that for a reason, and now they can accomplish some properly monstrous things in the charge phase.
Gee whiz, what sort of things do you mean, Sigmar?
You know, stomping, roaring, smashing.
Oh, we've got Stomps back. Stomps are back.
Going second doesn't mean you'll be finishing in second place. With more command points to spend if your opponent takes the first turn, you'll have ample time and resources to disrupt their moves.
Does that mean there'll be less downtime?
Silence! Speaking of which, 5. No more watching from the sidelines as your troops take the brunt of the enemy's attack. Use reactive command abilities in every phase of the game to interrupt your opponent and frustrate their plans. 6. Endless spells are back and more vicious than ever, with predatory endless spells now moving in every hero phase. That means double the magical mayhem.
Oh, okay.
Build your army in interesting ways using different core battalions. It's simple, flexible, and you even get some cool new abilities to try out.
Wow, surely there can't be anything else.
Incorrect. I said 8, and I meant it.
This is cheesy as all hell, but I love it.
Lies, apart from Tanagash. That guy sucks. 8. Send your army on a path to glory campaign and see your cheery little warriors rise from crumbling farmhands to mighty conquerors. Take territory and earn artifacts, spells, and other shiny trinkets.
Praise be to Sigmar. Well, there you have it from the...
Oh my god, that was brilliant.
You get all of this and some rather swanky miniatures in the new Dominion box, the best Warhammer Age of Sigmar box set we've ever seen.
Oh,
Right, Nick, gotta go. The mortal realms aren't going to save themselves.
except for Vindictors. The guy sucks.
Representations of Sigmar in this video may not be representative of the God King himself. Divine intervention should be neither inferred nor expected. At least some persons in this video are in...
Well,
That was cheesy as all hell, but that was great.
From the Warhammer and helping Sigmar himself and helping Sigmar to deliver 8 amazing things about the new edition. I think my favourite one on that list, considering how much I've enjoyed delving into Crusade, is the talk of all the narrative fun you're going to be able to have with Path to Glory.
That was brilliant.
Eddie, which one stands out?
I think certainly talking to the Age of Sigmar team about this, they're particularly excited about the opportunities that narrative can bring to Age of Sigmar. Narrative, as right from the beginning of Age of Sigmar, has been a really important part of how that's been presented and how you can play it. I think I'm quite excited about monsters and heroes having a bigger part in the game in terms of having the able to do more stuff. Because I think monsters look awesome, and I think every armies that are full of monsters always look really cool on the battlefield. And then also the idea of endless spells, predatory endless spells, being able to do more cooler stuff. I haven't used much in the way of predatory endless spells yet. There's always seemed to be something slightly better for the points in the army, but actually if they're getting better, I'm quite tempted to paint up a few of those. I've still got a few built but unsprayed.
Who doesn't want a massive flaming mouth flying out?
I like the big jaws. I love that model so much, but I've just not managed to find a place for it in an army yet. But this might be the catalyst I need.
Right. So, somebody in the chat asked a question that I believe I can answer. I would say I can answer this with 85% certainty. I've been looking on the frame, and I think that the Indrasta head is always bareheaded. I don't think there's a different option. If there is, then we'll be equally surprised and delighted when I build it, which might not be in the too distant future, considering how my weekend is shaping up. Woohoo! Right. So we have basically just dived into Dominion, and we have looked at the cinematic trailer. We've delved into the box and looked at both factions. That's got to be it, right, Eddie? That's got to be everything we've got today.
We got more models to show.
More models, Adam. I think we might have a few more models up our sleeve.
Beautiful. Well, around the time of this release, following hot on the heels of Dominion, will be some extra releases for the Stormcast Eternals. Let's have a look.
So more Stormcast, come on. Oh, that's cool. That Griffhound is nice. Archers are... Oh, chariots! With Griffhound. Okay, that chariot. Wow.
I mean, that's everything I want in life. A Stormcast Eternals riding a chariot drawn by Griff chargers, and then a Stormcast Eternal with a bow.
I think we lost their sound? Because, yeah, they've lost their sound. Because I've still got mine. Also, those Griffhounds are stunning. Have they lost their sound? Yeah, they've lost their sound. F for audio. So what do people think of those new Stormcasts? Because, oh damn. Wow, there's some really nice models in this range.
Right. Now, after a small technical issue, we should be back. Somebody tell me in the chat if you can hear my voice. That would be useful. And if we have... Yay! Adam's energetic excitement broke his mic. It might be true, but it didn't break my enthusiasm for the Night Judicator. I don't know how far we got before our sound was robbed from us. But Eddie, you were enthusing.
We'll just super quickly summarise. I don't know if they heard me or not, but basically the Griffhounds look amazing. They're leaping across the battlefield. They're going to eat some forces of chaos. All the Griffhounds, obviously, we've ever made are brilliant, but these ones are particularly cool. And the Night Judicator himself looks like an ancient Greek hero of old from the classical world, about to put a bolt through the head of some kind of arcane colossus.
And the bow isn't just any bow. It is a Terminus great bow. It literally has Terminus in its name. Let's shoot some things.
If you imagine that Stormcast Eternals are already like immortal god warriors clad in kind of Sigmarite forged armor, they're probably 6 to 7 feet tall. So that bow is probably, poking through the second story of a building if you decided to walk indoors with it. So that is an enormous bow. So it's like the size of bolt throwers.
This is my favorite. Look at it. It's a chariot pulled by Griff chargers. Come on. It's so cool. He's got a Stormcast leading off the side with an enormous bow and arrow. It's got a Stormcast leading off the other side with a honking great big hand axe. It's got 2 Griff chargers with specially adapted paw type claw thingamajogs to make them gallop more effectively. It's everything you need in life. Even doesn't require sort of reins between the riders and the mounts, because such is the synergy between the Stormcast Eternals and their Griff Charger friends. I love it. I could probably give you some cool Storm Strike chariot facts if you give me a moment.
So just looking at the model again, it's kind of reminiscent of that kind of almost kind of classical aesthetic that some of these Stormcasts are bringing with them with these new miniatures. It looks like a kind of Romanesque or kind of ancient Greek-esque looking chariot, but obviously on a massive scale. You can kind of get a sense of the size of this thing. It is not a small chariot. There's a human skull you can see at the bottom of the base, so you can imagine the size of those things. Those are not the size of horses.
This is sweet.
They're a lot bigger, and that bow is about the size of a bolt thrower.
Hot
So it's
damn.
a big old chariot.
If you follow the lore of the Stormcast Eternals, this Stormstrike chariot hails from the Angelus Conclave, and its sole purpose is to deliver devastating charges and harass the enemy ranks. They are equipped with a great stormbow and a Stormstrike axe. Or, potentially, you can swap one of those out for a tempestuous spear. More on that closer to its release.
I don't know what that is. We haven't seen
Me
one of
neither,
those.
but I
Sounds
like the
cool.
idea of
Sounds
stabbing
cool.
people as you go past on a chariot. Not really, just the Stormcast, right? No real
You're
life.
not allowed to do it in real life. It's frowned upon, but you can.
I don't
In
even
games
think
of Warhammer,
I'm allowed a chariot in real life.
Shocking.
What's fantastic about this is just a wonderful indicator of the great time we're going to have with the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the Dominion box being followed so quickly by fantastic new plastic kits, and the Stormcast Eternals aren't the only ones.
Oh, cool. We're going to see more of the Oh, damn. Oh, and there's a trog. Oh, there's an orc riding a trog. There's an orc riding a trog. That's great.
I mean, if the Crawl Boys have floated your boat as you've looked through the Dominion box with us, then you're going to be very excited about these. Raph, throw the first one of these up on the screen and let's get excited. The Crawl Boys Beast Skewer Killbow, it's like the size of a tree.
Yeah, so in the box set for Dominion, we know there are some man skewer bolt boys. This is basically that taken to a level where you can start skewering gargants. So you can see this is a multi-grot operated weapon system, and it brings a really interesting thing to the Forces of Destruction because they haven't got a huge amount of stuff in the way of like long-range war machines and things. This gives you the opportunity to put some really heavy-hitting, monster-killing power into your army, and the stat line on this thing is basically designed to take down big multi-wound monster models from far away. So if your Cruel Boys are thinking, actually, you know what, that big dragon on the other side of the battlefield probably don't fancy fighting that in a fair fight. It would be really great if that could just die from far away and we could pick off the enemy infantry. This is the thing you put in your army to do that. A very fun miniature and one that fits absolutely perfectly with the rest of your Dominion set. The Cruel Boys are obviously like a new kind of breed, a new style of orcs, so you may well decide that you want to kind of theme your entire collection around Cruel Boys, and if that is what you want to do with them, you'll be pleased to know that there's plenty of stuff coming to allow you to make an entirely Cruel Boys themed army. The other way that you can field your Cruel Boys is if you have an Uruk War Clans army, you can mix them in amongst things like Iron Jaws and Bone Splitters. All of those continue to exist, but if you just super love the Cruel Boys like I do, then you can look forward to having plenty of stuff to expand your Dominion collection into a full army. And the other thing is this guy, which is a Cruel Boys Breaker Boss, which is one of my favorite models of the whole year, and that is saying something because we've had some doozies. This is a Breaker Boss on Maya Brute Troggoth. So this
is cool.
One of the themes of the Cruel Boys is that as well as kind of coming out of the swamps with all of these unpleasant Uruks and Hobgrots and things, they also come out with monsters from the swamps, and there's all sorts of kind of strange, gangly, unpleasant creatures that they've managed to kind of stir from the dark places of the mortal realms, especially the realm of beasts. This is a Maya Brute Troggoth, which is a type of Troggoth who lives in the swamps, is a particularly grumpy, unpleasant, brutal Troggoth. And on the back of it, you've got a Breaker Boss, and his job basically is one of the Cruel Boys who tames these big, massive beasts, and you can see the brand on the back of the Maya Brute Troggoth there. This is one that's been, I suppose, tamed. It's probably a slightly strong word, but it's a Maya Brute Troggoth that you can point in the right direction. And on the back there, he's also got a nice big stabber stick to kind of take out anybody who gets too close to his Troggoth. But
yeah, Fantasy Orcs definitely did have some really cool ranged options. You had Rock Lobbers, Spear Chuckers, Doom Diver Catapults.
Not only fun, but cute. And the gut plate on the big Maya Brute Troggoth, we'll say that in a hurry, is sensational. On the back, it's got this really cute pillow to stop him getting too chafed by the pole upon which the Breaker Boss sits.
That's great.
The Breaker Boss is armed with a Titan's Goad, and then the Troggoth himself has iron-bound clubs. I don't know what they do yet, but they sound wacky.
They're going to make a mess if you get hit.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big miniature as well. So if you're looking for something to expand your Dominion box, you want a nice big kind of cool centerpiece hero/monstery model to put in amongst your Cruel Boys. This is going to be right up your street. And I think just a really fun miniature that takes that idea.
How cool is this? Like, this is some really great models. I'm really excited for Dominion.
In the top right there as well. All of the creatures of the Cruel Boys have a brand on them. They also have one on that.
This is cool though. I like that they can be included in like a big war army,
which matches the
and then
symbol of the
have their own allegiance as well. This is cool for Oracle Warclans. I really like how they're doing it.
And the jaws, all of the brands match the kind of owner, I suppose.
My hope is that they remain good as Cruel Boys and they're good, useful in big
for the
war.
last, I don't know, hour and 20 minutes or so as we have delved in to this sensational new edition. There's a question going around in the chat I don't have an answer for. Somebody was asking, are the games going to be played on the same size table? He needs to make a rapid decision on his gaming table for his house. I'm afraid I don't know.
We can answer that. So the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar uses the same gaming size scale as Warhammer 40,000.
Cool.
If you have current edition of Age of Sigmar and all your tables are built, you can still absolutely use those and they still count as official, they still work. But the sizes of game, particularly for match play, are designed to be effectively take your battlefields from something like Warcry and you can scale them up. Kind of, if you have 2 of them or 4 of them or 8 of them or 16 of them, you kind of scale up your battlefield size. They are those size of battlefields.
Amazing.
If there's any other questions we've seen rattling around, we might have a few minutes just to kind of answer any kind of prominent ones about the Dominion box set. I think we've dealt with most of it. A quick reminder, this is available to pre-order in June. It will be available while stock lasts, but we have made an awful lot of them. So if you want to get your hands on it, and why would you not? Because it's an absolutely incredible box set. Do please look to pre-order it when the time comes. And this is the shot that you were hinting at before, Adam, with that absolutely incredible miniature photography, all the models in the box set on a nice big glorious swamp. That is pretty much just the best looking Warhammer battle I think I've ever seen.
It's so good, isn't it? The Warhammer studio team, the painters, the miniatures designers, the photographers, the folks who've worked on the books, the team who've developed the rules and the lore. For them, this is a really special day as we get to unveil what is coming in this new edition.
This is so
couldn't
cool.
be more proud and more excited by the work that Jez Bickham, the head of the Warhammer Age of Sigmar team, and all of his gang have put into this just sensational looking box. It really has been just an honour to open it and to share some of it with you as you've joined in the chat. I don't know how many of you there still are, but we have had tens of thousands of you in here with us, and it has been a delight to share our enthusiasm. What remains for the rest of this is for us to thank you all so much for coming and for spending, I don't know, an hour and a quarter with us and getting excited about Warhammer Age of Sigmar. 2021 is shaping up to be an incredible year for the Warhammer hobby, and this just speaks to me to be the high point. If I keep looking off to this side, I'm sorry. It's because I'm hyped to get my paws on this box properly.
As soon as we start the stream, you're going to be diving in.
Somebody in the chat said they got the impression that Mrs. T had perhaps wasn't around this weekend, and they're dead right. So it's me and the dog and a box of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. This is all coming later in June. Please, if you want more information about what's coming and all of the things that you've seen in this stream today, make sure you go over to warhammercommunity.com and there'll be a full article which covers everything we've talked about today. Maybe there'll be some extra details. You can rewatch the video again. It'll be awesome. And then keep your eye on warhammercommunity.com for more information as we go. If you go over to Warhammer Age of Sigmar's website, you can find the link at the top of Warcom. You can subscribe to a newsletter so you can be the first to hear all the latest information, and we will be bringing you updates throughout the month so that you can join the hype and be as excited as we are about the new edition.
Yeah.
Right.
Just a few questions I've seen kind of flying by in the chat. I just wanted to quickly address. So there's a couple of questions there about price. We don't have the exact price for you today, but this is a similar sort of size of box set to the Indomitus box set that we have last year. So you can infer from that what you want, but that's not the exact price, but it's in that kind of ballpark. There's a question about battle tomes. So obviously, whenever you have a new edition of anything, Age of Sigmar, those models in that box are going to need some rules somewhere. So again, no specifics on battle tomes yet, but certainly battle tomes are a thing, will continue to be a thing, and we'll support the miniatures that get released. So again, read into that what you will. And then I think everything else, Adam, you've most of the big points that you've covered fairly well there.
Well, in that case, what remains is to do some thanks. I've already thanked them, but I will thank them again. The Warhammer Studios.
Alrighty, we can turn them down. So, what did people think of everything that was shown? Because that was pretty sweet. I'm really high on those Cruel Boys. I did not expect me to be liking them as much as I thought. What's everyone else's thoughts on all this stuff? But yeah. Okay. Now this looks really, really sweet. With that said, though, I'm going to head off in a second because I have a Champions League final to watch. My beloved Chelsea are going to be playing Manchester City in the Champions League final, so it's going to be a big night. We'll see whether I'm still happy. We've got Hobby Hangout tonight. Not tomorrow night, tonight. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how I feel. I should be able to do the Hobby Hangout tonight, but yeah, there might be a little bit of a hangover, like tiredness, and we'll see if I can get up and do a Hobby Hangout for you tonight. I want to say thank you to everyone here for joining, coming, chatting. It's always a great bit of fun to come and hang out. This one, not as long as some of our other ones, but don't forget as well, if you haven't already, please go and like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. All that helps more people find the channel, and it'd be great to get somewhere close to that 5,000 mark by next Saturday. We're a couple of hundred away. Be really cool to hit that 5,000 mark for my birthday next week. We'll be on Saturday night next weekend, so we'll be on live on my birthday. I'll do a little stream on my birthday night, and we can all hang out and chat then. But thank you all for watching. Thank you to everyone who supports the channel via Patreon and YouTube members, which you can find the links if you wish to help the channel support in the description of the video. And thank you all. Don't forget, you can come join our Discord server if you'd like to come chat more with other members of our little community here. So jump on the Discord server, come jump there and chat. It's in the description of the video as well. But thank you all for coming and watching. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well. And most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.